Hi, this is Elsa P. of ElsaElsa.com. We've covered a lot in this workshop, and by now you know a lot more about how you partner or how you fail to partner with others. In this last video, I want to pull everything together. I want to wrap this up by offering 6 more tips that will help you implement what you've learned so that you can overcome whatever impediment you have to partnering. So with that, let's get started. Number 1, define who you are and what you want and who they are and what they want. Is what you want reasonable? If you're a woman who wants a man on a white horse, you should know that men can spot this a mile away. And they know that they're not a man on a white horse. They know that they're mortal. So while a man may come and take you around the block a couple of times in his chariot, he knows he can't sustain this. So you want to evaluate whether or not, how much fantasy is involved when you're thinking about partnering. Similar to that, do you overestimate your own wonderfulness or theirs? Okay, if so, then go review the Jupiter and the Neptune videos to get a really good handle on what's going on. Secondly, review your agenda as far as looking for a partner. Make sure that it's your agenda. You shouldn't be looking for a partner that's going to please your friends or please your parents or please society. You're the one who's going to have to live with this person, so it should be your agenda, and you should focus on what makes you happy. The next thing is don't mask yourself. If you want to be married, say that you want to be married. Don't conceal this because it's part of being honest. Also, when people know that you're of that ilk and they meet somebody else of that ilk, they'll tend to put you together. So if you're going to hide who you are and what your agenda is, it's going to make it difficult to find somebody or to be found. Similar to that, check out how you go out in the world. If you're conservative, don't wear freaky clothes. And if you're freaky, then don't dress up like you're some kind of maiden. And, I don't mean this critically. I speak from experience. I'm freaky and intense, and I used to just wear the most innocuous clothes. Then you just come to life like a banshee. Okay, so make sure that how you look matches the inside of you. You want to be a whole person so that you can be identified, be solid. Okay, so you may have to take your time to do this. If you don't know who you are, they say be yourself. Some people have no idea who they are. Take the time to find out who you are and what you want, and make sure that you even want a partner, because this is like a core thing. If you don't want a partner, quit saying that you do. And if you do want a partner, quit saying that you don't. Now let's move on to the second tip. Number 2, quit wasting time. If you have to ask if a man is serious about you, he's not. If a man is obsessing about another woman, he is not the man for you. Be willing to cut your losses. It's too bad if your hot date didn't turn out the way you would have liked, but it's a lot better to cut your losses than to lose a year with somebody who's the wrong person for you. If you tend to fall for a figment of your imagination, you've got to resolve this. Don't waste your time, and don't allow other people to waste your time. If you want to commit and you're with somebody who wants an open relationship, you've got to walk. This is unresolvable. You've got to walk. You've got to cut your losses. Also, live your ideals. Don't use people as placeholders or time killers or friends with benefits unless this is what you want. If it makes you happy, fine. If it's not what you want, don't do it. You're wasting time. Reveal yourself again. Reveal yourself in your agenda. I wouldn't tell a prospective suitor that I'm a dental hygienist when I'm an astrologer. Honesty alone will set you apart. Last, quit trying to cram your foot into a shoe that doesn't fit. If you believe that there's somebody for you, then there should be some ease you may have impediment people have impediment getting together, but there should be some ease. You should be aware that this is a good shoe for your foot. And if not, and if you continue to constantly get yourself in relationships where there's tremendous impediment and it's extremely difficult, you have to ask yourself why you're doing that. Could you fear commitment or real love? If so, go back and review those sections on commitment phobia. Let's move on to the third tip. Number 3, pay attention to signs and lock on to something sustainable. The universe is set up so that people come together breathless and passionate. It's nice when you call each other 10 times a day or text each other 40 times a day, but that's not a pace that can be sustained over time, at least not day in and day out, or God forbid, accelerated. So if you when your relationship eventually moves into a slower pace, this is a point where a lot of people bolt. They think, oh no, they panic, they think their relationship's failing, there's not going to be any passion, they're going to be bored. What's really happening is you're moving from being a comet that streaks across the sky and disappears into something that's deeper. And if you pay attention, all long-term happy relationships take this path. True love grows deeper. That's period. Okay, if you'll start thinking in these terms, you'll notice a drastic difference in how you view relationships. If you'll open your mind to this idea, and if you are somebody who bolts every time the relationship starts to settle and calm down a little bit, you probably have commitment-phobic issues, so you should go back and review that section. Let's move on to the fourth tip. Number 4, learn to solve problems. Some people are better at leaving relationships than doing anything else. They jump ship at a moment's notice over something that's occurring in the moment. Like, let's say that someone lost their job or they're in some other kind of crisis. Suffering trauma is not a character defect. If you have a good partner and they take some kind of spill, or even if they head down the wrong path for a while, people do that in their life. They gain weight, they lose weight. Over the course of their lifetime, they change, they mature, they go out too far, they pull back. So, can you weather a storm? Can you allow somebody some kind of leeway? The streets are littered with people with ex-partners who people would have been better off to stay with. You know it, and I know it. So you want to think twice before you jump ship at, just as soon as something goes wrong. You need a solid reason to leave a good relationship. There has to be some kind of real incompatibility, a deal breaker, like somebody wants kids or somebody doesn't want kids. There may be infidelity or some real betrayal. This is not a moral issue. This is a psychological issue, because if all you do is run, then all you're going to do is run into the next scenario where you set up the exact same circumstance and you do it again. So if you want to stay in a relationship, you have to stay in a relationship. Let's move on to the next tip. Number 5, recognize obstacles in yourself and others. Look for patterns in your relationships. Do you claim that you want someone close, but you really have a freedom-loving, independent streak a mile wide? Are you easily bored? Does everyone tend to fall short around you? Whoever you get involved with, they just aren't good enough. They always let you down. Do you pick people where there's long odds of success, either due to the distance or their personal history or the fact that they're addicted or something? Do you fish the same pond over and over, even though you've never pulled anything out of there decent in your life? If you have these problems, fix them. If a potential partner has problems like these, they've got to fix them. If they can't or if they won't, then you've got to bail. The idea is to resolve the issues that prevent you from partnering and find somebody who has done the same. Only then can you ride off into the sunset. Let's look at the last tip. Number 6, there is hope. Age doesn't matter. What matters is the willingness to look at who you are and who you're dating. What matters is to be willing to get rid of outmoded or jaded beliefs that are thwarting you when it comes to partnering. What matters is a willingness to rise out of your circumstance and perhaps leave groups of friends behind who are retarding your growth. Being willing to lead and cut a new path matters. Believing you can do this matters, because if you don't believe you can do this, you're going to sabotage yourself at every turn. See the goal. That's where you're going, period. This is Elsa P. of ElsaElsa.com, wishing you the best of luck and a future full of love. Be well, my friend.